When it comes to understanding attraction, most people look for big, dramatic gestures, but the truth is that men rarely reveal their real interest through obvious actions. Instead, their deepest attraction leaks out through tiny, almost invisible psychological signals they don't consciously notice. And in this video, we're going to break down the 5 hidden signs he's secretly attracted to you, signs that women often overlook because they assume male interest is loud, direct, and impossible to miss, when in reality, the strongest forms of desire show up in subtle inconsistencies, micro-expressions, protective instincts, and emotional pacing. For example, the first sign is the sudden shift in his nervous system when you enter a room, because a man who is truly attracted to someone experiences a micro-surge of adrenaline that changes his posture, voice tone, and even the rhythm of his breathing. He may stand taller, become more alert, touch his neck or jaw, or unconsciously fix his clothing, not to impress you intentionally, but because his body wants to appear stronger and more composed in your presence. A natural instinct rooted in psychology and evolutionary signaling. The second sign is the way he pays attention to your emotional state, because a man who isn't attracted may listen to your words, but a man who is secretly drawn to you will listen for meaning. He'll notice when your voice sounds tired, when your energy shifts, or when something bothers you, and he'll ask subtle follow-up questions not because he wants to interrogate your life, but because he selectively invests his emotional focus into someone who matters to him. And he tries to understand your internal world quietly and carefully. Another powerful sign is what psychologists call orientation behavior, which simply means he positions his body toward you even when he's not talking to you directly. If he angles his shoulders toward you, leans in without realizing, or maintains eye contact a little longer than normal before quickly looking away, it's not an accident. It's subconscious attraction revealing itself in real time. And men don't do this around people they feel neutral about. The fourth sign is inconsistency. This may sound strange, but men who are secretly attracted often slip into a pattern of hot and confused because their interest clashes with their fear of vulnerability. So if he becomes warm, curious, and present one moment, then suddenly quieter or more reserved the next, he isn't playing games. He's trying to manage an internal conflict between desire and self-protection, especially if he's afraid of rejection or if he's had past emotional disappointments that make him cautious about showing interest too early. In fact, this emotional push-pull is one of the clearest indicators of attraction that men never talk about, and women misinterpret it as mixed signals when it's usually just insecurity disguised as distance. Finally, the fifth sign is how he reacts when other men show interest in you, not in a jealous, possessive, or inappropriate way, but in small flashes of discomfort, stiffness, or extra attentiveness, because attraction heightens awareness and men become more alert to competition even if they don't speak a word about it, and you'll see it in the subtle tightening of his jaw, the slight shift in his expression, or the way he suddenly becomes more engaged in the conversation as if trying to re-establish presence without being too obvious. These signs are not about predicting the future or assuming a guaranteed outcome, but they reveal patterns men rarely admit because attraction exposes vulnerability, and vulnerability exposes the fear of losing something before it even begins. Understanding these signals is not about manipulating anyone. It's about reading human behavior with clarity, so you no longer confuse casual friendliness with genuine interest. Too many women question themselves, wondering, does he like me, or am I imagining it? When the truth is that male attraction is incredibly consistent once you learn the cues, and these small psychological signs often speak louder than the words he may never say. The beauty of this knowledge is that it empowers you to navigate dating and connection with confidence, awareness, and emotional intelligence, because instead of guessing, doubting, or assuming, you begin to recognize patterns backed by human behavior and instinct. Remember, a man who is truly attracted doesn't always confess it directly. Sometimes he hides it, sometimes he protects it, and sometimes he doesn't even fully understand the intensity of his own reactions. But his subconscious will reveal everything. So as you watch this video, pay attention not just to the information, but to the behaviors in your own life that suddenly make sense, because the signs have probably been there all along, waiting for you to recognize them. This is your space to understand male psychology in a deeper, more accurate way. So you can approach relationships with knowledge rather than confusion, with confidence rather than doubt, and with clarity rather than assumptions. And by the end of this breakdown, you'll be able to identify the hidden signals most people miss and use that insight to build healthier, more meaningful connections built on truth instead of uncertainty.